So, Steve,
Yes, we would.
why do you love real estate development so much? I can see it in your face. You're just,
I
it's what
get
brings you joy and
I get juiced up.
satisfaction.
Why do I get juiced up
Yeah,
about real estate and
what's
land
so
development?
great about it?
So we had a conversation not too long ago when we were driving the truck, and you asked me about why I hated real estate and land development. That was easy. I thought that was an easy conversation, or better said, an easy video we could create
Yeah.
because there's so many aspects of real estate land development that are like brain damaging. And that was super easy to understand. When you asked me the question and you posed it to me like, why do you like it? I came up blank. And the reason I realized I came up blank is because honestly, like real estate and land development for me is just a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a vehicle for my growth and evolution. And I've always seen it that way. It's super challenging. It's kind of like a refiner's fire. And it puts me in an arena where there's a lot of negativity, or there's a lot of bravado, or there's a lot of contractual binding and juxing and posing, negotiating. It's kind of got a poker feel to it, and people are using levers on each other. Good old boy network, not inclusive. All those different aspects puts me in a place where sometimes the adversary in me starts to surface. And it allows me to identify with flaws that I personally have myself. And I'm a junkie to find my own personal flaws. Totally am a junkie for it. And the reason I'm a junkie for that is because by the time I retire this life and transcend from here, because I think that that's why for me I have all those mantras like doesn't matter in 1,000 years and no U-Haul chases a hearse and all those things. Why I use those as mantras and perspective for me is because this life isn't the end all say all. It's not. There's something so much superior to everything that's going on.
Yep.
And our job is to use this course to get to that level of superiority, and not in a demeaning way, not in a like, oh man, I'm pompous and I'm better than everybody else. That's the bravado. What it is, man, I'm more who God intended me to be. And that's my dictionary again. Science, it's what the universe is trying to do. It's trying to craft a better you each and every day. And that's meaningful. That's purposeful. And so the land development is nothing more than a vehicle to me to figure out me, to process me, to become a better listener, to become less agendized. We just talked about, impact and all those different aspects of how you should love people and not impress people. And it's a mantra that we have in our house that I push really hard on my kids. And I also have another mantra we're going to talk to in a 60-second video. And I don't want to say it in the wrong light. That's why I'm hesitating on saying it, because it can come across pompous. And that's not really what it is. I tell my kids, are you hanging out with them or are they hanging out with you? And I don't mean that in any negative sense of light of like, are you the cool boy on campus? It's not about being a cool boy. That's the impress side.
Yeah.
The impact side is the service side. How hard can you love people? How much can you give in to them? How much can you pour in? How much of yourself can you sacrifice? How much of you can you craft to a higher level for them? If you really care, you will. You'll take yourself to a higher level and you'll take them there too. It's not a selfish game. And so when development is all about competition and all about a lack of collaborative exchange, and it's all transactional, we're totally missing the purpose and meaning of life. We're totally missing the mark. So when you ask me, why do I like land development? I would say for all the wrong reasons. It's not for money. Well, people make millions. I mean, I know tons of developers. I know tons of, big wigs. I was just with a guy that has hundreds of millions of dollars yesterday, in fact. And it doesn't matter. It's the quality of the individual. It's the spirit and light that they bring. It's their torch. Mm-hmm. What are they bringing to serve everyone around them? And those are really important thoughts for me personally. And I think it's not to use a spiritual term. I was going to say sacred, but it's personal for me. My ecosystem, the way my intake, like who am I listening to? Why am I listening to? What am I doing so that tomorrow I'm more inspired for you? I'm more inspired for the company. I'm more inspired for my wife and family. I'm more inspired for my kids. Mm-hmm. So when they have problems and stuff, I can lead them. I can guide them with humility, not with grandizement. I could give a rip less. I just want to be of a value to somebody. And I want to get the high five of being able to watch them fly and become a better person just by virtue of spending time with me and my space, and that I've created a safe haven where they can ultimately feel comfortable being who they are. Yeah. And that they can ultimately discover, because of that comfort, they can freely discover more of who they divinely are meant to be and where they're supposed to go. So I think that going back to why I like real estate and land development is because it's a refiner's fire for me. It's a pressure cooker that allows me to identify with all the different weaknesses. Like when I'm in a tough spot with the city, or when I'm in a tough situation economically or transactionally with somebody, am I really trying to be selfish? Or am I really trying to understand their situation and be of a service, mm-hmm. and help us navigate it with a sense of peace and value add, rather than a sense of negotiation and performa? And so anyways, I think that that's some of the reason.
I like it. Very non-traditional answer. I feel like most developers would be like, oh man, it's a good place to make a good amount of money, have the lifestyle that I want. And you didn't even touch on that. So.
Well, I think that money is a stewardship, not an ownership. So it doesn't matter how much you accumulate of it.
They're non-traditional.
Well, I guess, but it's just a stewardship. So it doesn't matter how much I accumulate. There's a purpose by the time it got to me. Mm-hmm. And my job is to align and find what that purpose is. Is it to buy my wife a night out with me? Is it to serve my neighbor who's out of a job? Is it to get my kid a new pair of shoes for school? Is it to ecclesiastically go and serve on a spiritual sense? There's so many different ways in which I utilize the gift that I've been given of cash flow, and it doesn't directly correlate to, hey, a brand new boat or a Ferrari or a hot rod. Mm-hmm. but most times and 100% for me, it's a service vehicle that I use to be of a blessing to somebody else. So that's, I guess you're calling it non-traditional. I would hope that that's the way we'd see it, because I think that that's the way it's supposed to be intended.
I like it. I agree. I think the world would be a very different workplace if everyone had that mindset on money and on their career.
Yeah, absolutely. So at least, I mean, that's a self rah-rah by saying absolutely, but no, I really do think that everything comes to us for a reason and a purpose, whether it's an experience or a thing or a relationship. And my job 9 times out of 10 is or 10 times out of 10. I don't know why I said 9 times out of 10 there, but 10 times out of 10 is to remove myself from the situation and quietly ask, why am I having this thing, relationship in my life?
Mm-hmm.
What's intended there? What am I supposed to do with that, for that? How can I nourish it? How can I play my part? How can I play my role? So anyways, I think that was a quick conversation around why I like, or a long-winded conversation around why I like real estate and land development. And for me, it's just a vehicle to incur a better me each and every day.
Like it. Cool.
Okay. Find us at what, Leland?
ClearyCompany.com.
Absolutely. And if we can be of a blessing and a service to you, we'd love to do that. Or we can just point you in a direction with all of our connections and utilize some of our value add in the NAXA tool to launch you in a direction that serves and blesses you and your family and your business. So